Hey everybody, Randy here with Stay Broke Business Consulting. Welcome to day 22 of building $1 million business in 1 year. So today we're going to talk about some equipment that we're looking at selling and how we got to this point. We're talking about our utility company today, and in the year 2024, while we were going through a bunch of changes, we decided we needed a word of the year, something to really drive our goals. In 2024, it was efficiency, and that led us down a path to make a lot of changes. And by the end of the year, we were doing more revenue with less employees. So heading into 2025 and still kind of staying on the same path, we chose function. Whenever we started the business, we had to offer some services to get our foot in the door, and it wasn't our end goal. We knew that at some point we wanted to get away from these extra services and just focus on the utility side. And when putting ourselves in that situation, we're committing to contracts for years at a time, so we knew this was going to be a long, slow process. By the end of 2024, we finally finished up all of our contracts on the services that we were trying to move out of. But for the 5 years plus leading up to that point, we had to try and run as efficiently as possible, and that led to us buying dump trucks and different types of equipment, skid steers, excavators, all kinds of smaller equipment. But with all of our equipment, we started out by renting for the first couple years, and then when COVID happened, everybody was trying to move equipment because it wasn't selling, so they had all these awesome rates. And Cat had a promotion to do 0% for 3 years, I think. So we ended up buying a skid steer and an excavator because we were renting one full-time anyway. So with that, and then our dump trucks, it really allowed us to do everything in-house and made it easier to understand our profits and our losses and really get an idea of whether these were tasks that we wanted to continue doing into the future. Fast forward to present day, 2025. At the beginning of the year, we focused on function, like I said. That led to us deciding to sell both of our dump trucks that we had, as well as look at our fleet as a whole. With that, we ended up getting rid of some of our older trucks, pretty much completely updated our whole field fleet, and now we're focused on the equipment side of it. And when I talk about function, I got a new car this year because I was having some issues with mine, and I really like trucks. I miss having a truck. I've been driving an SUV for the last few years, and it's because I'm not hauling much equipment anymore. And if I do, I can borrow one of the field trucks or one of our backup trucks. But I have a family of 7, so having those extra seats are very important. Even though I want a truck really bad, I can't justify it. And my resolution for that was hanging on to my old Ford Ranger that I have. I got it years ago from family and fixed it up and have had it running really well since then. I don't need a big truck. This one does what I need it to do. It starts every time I need it to. So for now, I'm going to continue to drive the SUV, and when I need a truck, I can jet around in the Ford Ranger, and I get laughed at because I look a little silly in it, but at the end of the day, I don't care. There's no sense in spending a bunch of money on a truck that I'm only going to drive a few times a month, so I'm making do with what I have. Now, for a harder decision, we have a skid steer. We have a couple skid steers, but we have our newer skid steer, which is a 2022 Cat 259D3. It's an open cab, tracks. It's a nice piece of equipment. It's completely paid off. We paid, I want to say, right around $65,000 for it, brand new, with a 4-in-1 bucket. And now we're at a point where it's sitting. And if you know anything about equipment sitting, not being used, is the worst thing for it. Every time you go to try and use it, it's throwing error codes. We're having issues with it. The tracks need replaced right now. Like, different maintenance kind of gets left behind when you're not pulling it out. And we are in the 7th month of the year, and I'm not even sure if we've used it 7 times this year. Now, as far as how I want to sell it, that's what I got to look at. So the first thing I did was kind of look at Marketplace and saw what was going on there. It looks like I wasn't the only one that went out and bought a 259D3 Cat skid steer when they were at 0%. If you look around Marketplace, it looks like everybody else had an idea that they were going to buy a skid steer and build a business around it. And if you remember, during COVID, home services boomed. Everybody was going and starting their own lawn care service or doing pavers or whatever home service that they could come up with. And a lot of people went out and bought equipment at a really good rate and tried to build a business around that. And that was a good idea for a year or two, but as the economy kind of settled back down and all the free money started to go away, now all these extra service jobs for the homeowners weren't happening anymore. So a lot of these people went back to work for other employers, and now they're all trying to sell their equipment. So I'm looking, they're all over the place. I'm trying to figure out where ours fits in the market. It's in good shape, doesn't have a ton of hours on it. But I don't like dealing with tire kickers. I don't like trying to sell stuff and negotiate and deal with all that. So I would prefer not to sell it myself. The amount of time it takes to do that, just like the videos that we've been talking about lately, knowing the value of my time. And for me to drop what I'm doing to come meet people, to look at a piece of equipment that they're probably going to try and lowball me or not buy or whatever, I just don't have time for that. So I went back to Cat to see if they had any kind of used equipment purchasing programs, and sure enough they do. And I had a number in my head where I wanted them to be, and they came back surprisingly just a little higher than that. So like I said, I paid about $65,000 for it. I'm keeping the 4-in-1 bucket for one of my other skid steers. So we're throwing a set of forks on it, and they're giving me $27,500 for the skid steer with the forks. I also have 2 other attachments for another service that we used to offer that COVID kind of took away from us. But the 2 attachments are worth about $5,000 a piece, and they're giving us about $2,000 each for those. They also need fixed up. If I was going to go use them tomorrow, I'd probably have to take them in, drop them off somewhere, and spend $1,000 a piece just getting them serviced and make sure they were completely functional. So the hard part for me is deciding, is something that I paid combined about $75,000 for worth getting rid of for just over $31,000? And that's been what we've been going back and forth on with my team, and making sure that we really want to sell it and we don't have a need for it. But just looking at, first thing I'd have to do if we're going to put it back in service is put tracks on it. That's about $2,000 to do. Figure out what the code is and why it's throwing a code right now. So getting Cat to come out here and fix the equipment for us, that's probably going to be another $500 to $1,000 depending on what the issue is. So I'm already having to come out of pocket $3,000 for something that we don't even use. Or I could take the hit and just get rid of it and walk away with 30 grand. So then part of the decision process for that is looking at, all right, when did we buy it? Okay, the equipment's almost 5 years old now. It's a 2020 machine. It's now 2025. So already the age of it is definitely having an effect on the value. We look at the hours of it. It's still a fairly low hour machine. Any more hours we put on it is going to greatly impact the value of it. Then we look at how much money did we make over the years while using it. How much did we save by having this opposed to renting equipment? And pretty much it's a wash. It's a break even. If we would have kept doing what we were doing, offering those services, we would have eventually got to where it made more sense to have this. When we bought it, we were paying a significant amount in rentals every month, and it did save us money. It saved us headache, made us more efficient, because aside from renting the equipment, when something broke, you'd have to go turn it back in. wait for another piece to become available. Sometimes we needed more than one, and trying to find one in time for a job, we lost jobs because of that. So having our own definitely was worth it, and uh, we're at a point now where we're waiting for Cat to show up with a check. We're working with Gregory Poole, that's who we bought it from, and that's who's coming to purchase it. So we're waiting for them to show up with a check and pick it up, because we've been going back and forth for about 2 weeks now on it, and they're giving me what I want for it. But the fact that that was their first number was a little bit higher than what I was thinking makes me question whether I was looking at it, valuing it too low. But again, like I said, marketplace is flooded with them. If I was to try and sell it outright, how much more would I make off of it, and how long would it sit here waiting to sell? Also, Gregory Poole has a program that they offer. We can consign it through them. But again, how long is it going to take to sit there and sell that piece of equipment? I'm going to have to come out of pocket to go ahead and make the repairs, because nobody's going to buy the equipment with old tracks on it and with it throwing a code. So for us in the situation we're in right now, it's best that we just let them come pick it up, write us a check for 30 grand, and move on from this. And hopefully it's a lesson learned for people. Don't rush into buying equipment. Really weigh your options, and then when it comes time to sell it or trade it out, really think about what you're doing. Think about the functionality of it. Think about the cost comparison of owning to renting. You got to include all your maintenance, all the other things that come with owning a piece of equipment. You got to trailer it. You got to have a truck that can keep up with it. Like all these different things come into play whenever we're trying to make these decisions. But the biggest thing is just not rushing into it, not making a decision by myself. I've done the legwork on this, but every step of the way, I've been consulting with my operations manager and my VP of operations, making sure that we're all on the same page and this makes financial sense for us. But at the end of the day, with that focus on function, this piece of equipment is not functional. It's not helping us do our job better. It's not saving us time. It's not saving us any money. It's just sitting here, and it's going to continue to cost us money and go down in value. So we'll let you know when it gets picked up. But if you like this kind of content, like knowing how we make our decisions, comment down below, like, follow, subscribe, and remember, stay broke.